gorgeous day in Idaho. I'm out walking my dog, Atlas. I'll tag a picture of him at the end of this video so you can see him. He looks pretty good. He got groomed yesterday. Want to introduce you to somebody. His name is Charles. He's my son. He's 25 years old and has severe autism. Cognitive delay and OCD, and you know the drill. Okay. But he's my son, and I love him. He's the reason I launched this project called Spectrum World. It doesn't make any sense without him, without knowing the problems and the issues I'm hoping to address that all center upon him. And then in my eventual demise, the two questions: who will love Charles after I'm gone? Where will he live? Profound questions. And I'm sure many of you are dealing with the same questions. And the thing is, Charles is a unique individual. And anyway, to answer those two questions I talked about, has to embrace his individuality. Because each child is a unique individual. I advocated in a previous video that probably the first place to start is to start with your child, your son, your daughter. Maybe you have multiple children on the spectrum or with disabilities, right? But obviously they're the starting point, right? So you have to ask, first off, is how do you include them into the process? Depending on their cognitive abilities, they may be highly involved in the process to answer these two questions. But, it's a spectrum, and we know that there are some who will probably be on 27 care all their life and may not ever grasp some of the concepts that we're talking about, But we start with the individual child, and we work from there. Maybe we include them in a conversation. Maybe we simply write down all the things that's unique about them, their strengths and their weaknesses, and how to understand how those will factor in to his or her long-term care, right? So I think, I said before, I think that's a perfectly good place to start. But it's still difficult for a number of reasons to move forward in this planning. As I said in my last video, or something to that effect, we're not baking a cake. We're not planning a road trip. We're not planning for something that's going to take place 2 years down the line. Not likely. Maybe it's 10 years or 20 years down the line. Who knows? So it's I use that word too much, profound too much. It's a challenging project that we're on. But we need to find out why we're not moving forward. I got some ideas on that. In this world, there's something called a social clock. It's fairly straightforward. It's built into the system. You have a child, he grows up, eventually goes to high school. All right? And then he graduates. And then maybe he goes to college. Hopefully he finds someone special, falls in love. And after graduating college, he proposes and she says yes, and they get married. Maybe they both have careers at this point, maybe not. But soon they decide they want to have a family, and they start down that path. And then maybe they buy a house. And, and as parents, that's what we want. They fly off to be independent and to take care of themselves and to start a family, and that's to be secure, and hopefully we've equipped them for that. That's the social clock. It's built into the system, the structure. It's expected, it's normal, okay? But when you have a child with profound severe autism or another developmental disability that requires, 24/7 care, the social clock doesn't work. It's just thrown out the window. And that's okay. But it's one of the reasons why we feel stuck when it comes to answering those two questions. Because the system that we're born in expects something else. And we're going to have to come up with a new paradigm for our children and a new way of thinking about what happens after we're gone, to be able to set up the structures that are going to last and know that our children are going to be taken care of, because every child is fundamentally unique. Every child's going to need a unique set of structures in place in order to pull this off, Charles has, he's a sweetheart 95% of the time, 90% of the time. But his meltdowns are pretty significant. It gets pretty violent. Property destruction, aggression toward others, and we need to take those things into account when we're setting up structures, or I need to take up, that situation, those characteristics that he has. All right. And of course, we need to do everything we can to mitigate the meltdowns and to help him to deal with the frustrations of life in a more productive and happy way. Healthy way, I suppose, is a better word. Anyway, so this is just one reason why it's so challenging to address these questions, because we're running on a different clock, if I can use that term. Okay. So what I want you to think about is, how does this resonate with you? How have you dealt with the loss of that clock? And did you even realize it was ticking away, causing anxiety and such? I'm curious. Write your thoughts below, share them, and I'll get back to you, okay? If the things that I am talking about resonate with you, I hope that you would consider following this channel There's also a newsletter that I'd like you to subscribe to. Just launched this week. You can sign up in the link in the description. Um, anyway, I think that's probably it for now. I'll bid you adieu, and don't forget, I see you.